When did you first start playing an instrument, and what was it?
I started playing, I think, at the age of 12, drums.
Ah, okay.
That was my first instrument. I played drums up until I was about 17 years old.
Was that a drum kit?
Drum kit. I got a drum kit when I was 14, so the first 5 years of music was strictly drums.
And then as far as when you were playing drums, how long was it before you ended up with a band?
Well, I played in a cover band in high school and a little bit in college. Nothing original, mostly cover bands and that kind of thing. It really wasn't any original music until I got involved with Liquid, and I started experimenting with my own type of music.
And go ahead and tell us just a little bit about Liquid, especially for those who may not be too familiar, which I guess there are a few out there still.
Well, it's I would say Liquid now, I'd say, is a kind of a cult type of band. I guess you'd call it that because it's got sort of this underground following. It had a very unique sound. It was all kind of tribal, rhythmic, and it was really pertained to kind of like the dance music scene a little bit, the alternative music scene. But yet it was very original. It just had a very original sound. Stripped down, no electronics, bass, drums, a very unusual singer. Marimba I played, and then everybody else played percussion. So that pretty much summed it up. And but what it lasted, it had some very interesting moments.
Oh, it certainly did. As I've said before, a lot of fans, at least that I know, out here on the West Coast, found you very unique and got a lot of airplay, at least on one college station out here.
Yeah, we still do. It's amazing that there's still a big interest in the band. I guess because of its originality, and it has such a unique sound. I think today you put it on, it still sounds fresh.
Oh, I totally agree. Completely, 100%. I like sharing it with people who have not heard of you before. And
I think you play for somebody new, they say, who's this new band?
Yeah.
And really, it's ancient, you know, 25 years almost now.
Yeah, you're in that. If you were a car, you'd be a classic. Well, so now you have a new solo album, and it's your second solo release. That's correct?
No, I've put out a lot of releases. This is, I would say, my 9th solo release.
Oh, wow.
I had a whole series of ambient type of music, electronic ambient type of music. And then gradually, I had a record that was kind of out of ambient, a little more electronic. And then the last record I did was Old Dogs and Tricks, and that had a lot of jazz, world music influences. And now I'm doing something totally different. It's kind of an acoustic guitar type of record, kind of dark, rustic. Has very emotional, dark moments to it. And I'm finishing up the record as we speak. I'm very close to finishing up the last mixes. And the recording actually started February 2005, so this takes me a long time to get these done.
A good long project. Now, is it primarily acoustic-based, or are there electric elements as well?
Well, it started out, my idea started out as just an acoustic record, but unfortunately with all the friends I have and everybody that gets involved, there ended up being 13 musicians on this record.
Yeah, that's a nice number.
Now, not everybody plays at once on every song, but I believe I was able to capture the right people at the right time on the song, so they really worked on some of the pieces. I was very lucky again.
And do you have any, as far as certain songs that might stand out for you on this new album, any specific kind of inspirations or themes going on with any of them?
Well, the song Shadow is based on driving out in the West, dark roads, picturing the Indians and the Indian way of life, and darkness, and driving alone, and I'm thinking about stars are very bright, so it's just kind of like a Western type of theme, and that really turned out really good. And then there's a song I did called Mona Lisa that I'm very happy about. I did a duet with a gentleman by the name of Stefan Eicher. He's a Swiss singer, and it's kind of a sad song, but it's very emotional. It kind of really, I think it really works.
Sounds very interesting. Now, if you were hard-pressed by, say, a radio station to label yourself, and I
Boy,
know
that's
this is,
very hard to do.
yeah,
That's
but
the problem. I can't really label I go in so many different directions and sound. It's hard to really label what I do. That's the hard part. Maybe it's alternative, a little bit of folk here. There's some Celtic sounds on this. So it's really hard to label. There's also a song with Sal Principato that has a little liquid to it that's on the record. So that's really hard to label me. That's why maybe I don't get a lot of airplay.
yeah, well, in a way, the way you described it, you could almost say Americana in the very pure sense of the word, due to the elements that you've described, but also the fact that you're an independent.
Right.
And, of course, you're American, so that helps wrap that one right up, at least in my mind.
The record started out as very Americana, but then it kind of drifted back to Dennis Young sound, and I just can't get away from doing different types of music. So it started out, my idea was to do a very Americana. There is some Americana songs, but it's just got back to Dennis again, so it's what I am.
Now, do you expect to be doing any live gigs to support this release?
Well, I'm playing tomorrow night, a live show, a little coffee house, but I'm hoping to play some shows in New York, and then maybe go over to Europe, maybe in the spring and play some shows. So I'm going to do some limited playing. I'm not really up to touring anymore, none of that. Maybe some select shows I'd like to do. That's probably it.
That sounds like, a nice balance, actually,
Right.
because Europe seems like it would be a very welcoming
I'm hoping
venue.
I can get the band that plays with me to also be available for these dates also. So it all depends on timing and everything. They're busy working full-time jobs, and a few of the members of the band are running a studio. So if we all can get free somehow, then it'll happen. So we'll see.
Sounds good. Now, how is it promoting yourself now with the internet compared to the days of Liquid Liquid?
Well, I think if Liquid Liquid was around now, I think you'd have a lot more exposure than you did. It's amazing. I got a site on MySpace, a band site. It's just amazing how many people you can connect with there that are into Liquid music and different music. And it's really amazing how you can connect with all types of people, even more, I think, than your own website. And I've just had a site on only now for about 4 months, and I've had a lot of people contact me that are true fans and really big musicians out there. So it's an amazing way to connect to the internet, and I think MySpace, especially if you're a band, I think it's a great way of starting out to get out and get the music be heard.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that, and know of some other people as well, actually, who use MySpace. And what would someone look up if they were looking for you on MySpace?
Well, it's just / Dennis Young, one word, Dennis Young. And I have a website, DennisYoungMusic.com. But just put / Dennis Young, one word, and then you'll come to my site. There's some new songs from the record on there. There's also, I throw in some old songs from Liquid Liquid that you haven't heard before that I slip in occasionally. So I'm always adding things that people will listen to. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Now, have you found a label?
Well, I'm looking right now. I'm in talks with about 3 labels right now. I'm just talking to Domino Records in Europe, Bar None here in Hoboken, and then there's also a label, Carousel, out in Kansas that's interesting. So we'll see what happens. Nothing yet definite, but we'll see.
I wish you luck on that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It saves a lot of time and energy in trying to promote yourself when you release it yourself. It's a lot easier that way.
I would imagine, yeah. Having done so ourselves back in the day, yeah.
Right.
Now, do you have any future plans as far as other musics or anything else you're pursuing?
Well, right now, once this is complete, I've been writing and doing music now. It'll be 25 years, I believe, after this whole project is done. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is kind I want to do another retrospective recording. I have a lot of backlog of music that I've done with different people, some of the Liquid members, some other musicians, remix stuff. So I'm thinking after this, maybe put out another, a retrospective record. I did one in '96, but this is going to be more with a lot of other different people. So I've already started compiling songs, and so that might be the next project. As far as my own music, we'll see where that goes. I mean, this wasn't even planned. This recording just happened. I went in the studio to record a few songs to play live as a demo. And before you know it, I had 4 or 8. Before you know it, I had 13 songs that I was working on. So this wasn't even planned. So who knows
Excellent.
what'll happen?
Yeah, that's the best way.
Right, it
seems kind of fated that way somehow. Now, do you have any specific inspirations for your music? Or?
Not real. Well, I listen to a lot of different music. Not really. I just things get a feeling, and then I just start working off of that. I like to create a lot of atmosphere, a lot of different environments, music environments. That's what I try to do with each song, create a mood and an atmosphere to a vocal or to a sound. And that's where I work off of, and then that's where I can get musicians to help me on those types of songs, especially for this recording. So I don't listen to a lot of music out there. I do listen to lately a lot of blues and folk, but I don't listen to too much current rock music.
There's not a lot out there. I mean, there is some. I don't want to completely smash it, but
right.
then there's a lot of dreck.
That's true, there is. You got to weed through that.
Yeah, sadly, but I guess it's always kind of been that way anyway. So, and I was going to ask actually what you were listening to at the moment. So the only other thing is, what are you reading? Anything in the library that you've been enjoying lately?
Well, I am reading a book. I'm into a lot of nonfiction, and I'm now reading a book by Theodore Roosevelt. It's a story about Theodore Roosevelt, and his book. The book is basically done in a story about him and out of his presidency and his trip down the Amazon and all his adventures of what he saw, what he did. It's very interesting. The man was really an adventurer back then.
Oh yeah. I actually read a fiction book that had nonfiction woven into it, and it was in the time of Teddy Roosevelt, except for he was not president yet. He was a police commissioner.
Oh, okay.
And it was actually quite compelling. It was fun.
It's called The River of Doubt. So
River of Doubt.
It's a title, and I just started it, so we'll see where it takes me.
Sounds like a good
into
read.
A book, I really read it in detail. If it doesn't take me anywhere, then I just say, well, I think I'm going to read something else.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. Now, does your album have a title, a working title?
Yes, the title is called Shadow.
Oh, it is? Okay.
And it's actually the first time I've actually used a title from a song, one of my songs, called Shadow. And I kind of think it kind of reflects the record. Some of the songs are kind of in a shadowy mode. A lot of them are kind of sad, and I kind of think it kind of reflects the mood of the record. So, Shadow is the title.
Good. Sounds a little like almost a fall, winter kind of album.
Right.
For those kind of green days, if you need that.
I hope to have it, actually out in the public, hopefully in the fall. So we'll see.
Excellent. Well, people can check it out on your website from time to time, and of course you will, when it is ready to go, have an announcement there, I'm sure.
Oh, I will. And I update the website pretty much every quarter. I pretty much update news, and then if there's something urgent that's happening, I'll put it up. So keep posted there.